Hi, my name is Matt Poole. I'm his social studies teacher here at Lakeshore High School. I wanted to bring Dan Pullian into my classroom because the kids were growing weary of the same old activities, notes, vocab, those sort of things. And Dan brought this CoSpaces, or Delight Text as it's called now, to my attention. And together we created a totally technology-driven unit on the Aztecs, the Incas, and the Mayas. One of my last units of the year. We went out with a bang. So the first step of the process was I assigned them an Aztec and Inca or Maya. I gave them a brief page of notes, and then essentially we were off to the races with SchoolAI. That was our first step. Deanne created artificial intelligence, Aztec, Incas, Mayas, and the students were able to access that. We could lock their browser down with GoGuardian to ensure that they were only doing research based upon their AI conversations. We phased them on to the next step, which was creating a virtual museum exhibit about the Aztecs, the Incas, or the Mayas using Delight Text, CoSpaces. Now, once we got the kids up and running and they were excited to work, they were putting their own creativity into it, so many compliments to Deanne and myself from the students, which, as we know as educators, hard to get a compliment from a kid, about the creativity of the project, how it was, while it was still structured, there was autonomous elements to it that allowed the students to, first of all, demonstrate the objective of the unit, which was showing that they understand causes, effects, trivia, because a lot of global knowledge trivia, right? Different, characteristics of a civilization, the who, what, why, where, when of their civilization. So we took about maybe like 4 days in the library to complete the virtual museum exhibit. The kids were into the lesson as as their peers were presenting, as opposed to just trying to get kids to be excited about learning, especially ancient history, and to have them excited to listen to their peers present is another big task to tackle. But through Deanne's work and our cultivation of this lesson, the artificial intelligence school AI research, the CoSpaces / Delight Text research, the kids were interested in the material. My lesson objective was secured, if you will, and the kids, by interacting with the interactive AI, CoSpaces Delight Text, it was an interactive lesson that they thought was fun. And making history fun is a task. So that was essentially the gist of this whole lesson.